Some of what I'm going to say has already been covered on the video. That was prepared, and this was prepared independently. So, if you're looking for corroboration of evidence, it's here. In the late 1920s, early 1930s, Boarded Barnes Estate was built to accommodate the factory workers in a rapidly expanding and thriving Chelmsford. Boarded Barnes Estate is the sort of Kings Road, North Avenue area, which is just up the road. The leaders of Orchard Street Hall in Chelmsford Centre felt called to provide a new plant church on the estate. In 1935, they found for sale and bought a small Anglican church vacated by All Saints Anglicans who had moved to Kings Road. It was on a large site on the corner of Cooper's Road and Broomfield Road, where we are now. The elders appointed to lead the church at that time were William Stunt, Henry Pavitt, John Kleiner and Laurie Levitt. The church rapidly grew, so much so that a large building was needed. Just repeating itself again, isn't it? Sometime between 1935 and 1939, a large building which had previously been used as a dance hall was found for sale at Rayleigh. It was made of corrugated iron sheets on 4-inch by 2-inch wooden studding. It was bought, dismantled and brought back to Chelmsford, where it was re-erected over the existing chapel by virtue of the new building's high vaulted roof. The small chapel was then dismantled and removed, so worship on the site was uninterrupted. It was clearly in the Lord's will, as it fitted on the site with 1 metre to spare on the north side and on the west end as well. It was affectionately known locally as Stunts. That's because it was William Stunt who set it up. It's not because the leaders performed stunts in to keep the audience away, the congregation away. Sorry. The other name that it had was the Tin Tabernacle. When it rained heavily, the speaker could barely be heard with the rain pounding on the metal roof. In 1939, I was born on May the 16th, and World War II started on September the 1st. My dad told me that I was the cause of the war. But that didn't give me a complex of any sort. Dad was an air raid warden. Yeah, Dad was an air raid warden, and he told me that one night while he was on patrol in Broomfield Road, a bomber dropped a load of incendiary bombs which burst into flames on impact. The obvious target was the 2 Christie factories which were on the corner of Kings Road and adjacent to BREC, just over here on the very corner. They missed their target and burst on the road. I had thought how blessed we were that they didn't hit our church. But Bill Guiner told me later on, that's in more modern times of course, that one of the bombs went straight through the roof here, but failed to ignite, so we really were blessed and protected. As soon as peace was declared in Europe on May the 8th, 1945, Mum took me to the evening service at BREC. The following Sunday to Sunday school, and the Sunday after that, my gran, who lived with us, took me to the morning meeting. At the end of that service, William Stunt came over and gave me a piece of chocolate for being good. I must admit I looked to him every Sunday after that. I was 6 years old, and that was 78 years ago. My first Sunday school teacher was Bill Guiner. There were 2 highlights in the Sunday school calendar. The first was the Christmas party, followed by prize giving. The second was a summer outing to the seaside at Alton-on-Naze, which restarted in 1947, by which time the beaches had been cleared of barbed wire and worse, wartime invasion protection. We travelled in a fleet of Eastern National double-decker buses, of which the record number was 6. They used to all be parked up the side here, waiting for the folks to go on. The record number was 6. There were about 80 children in the Sunday school then, and mums and dads came with us as well, if they wanted to, for a moderate charge. On the 1949 outing,
I played on the beach with a girl called Barbara, while our two mums sat in deck chairs and talked. Barbara was 8 and I was 10. Fast forwarding for a moment, Barbara and I were married on March the 17th, 1962, and we both vividly remembered that day at Walton. We were very happily married for 59 years, until July 2021, when Barbara went to be with the Lord. Barbara was lovely, and we had 2 lovely children, who now look after me very well.
Thanks. Back in time again, progression through Sunday school was to Judegoers and then to Covenant as a young people's fellowship. A coachload of young people's fellowship and the leaders and their families went away for a 2-week holiday in London, North Wales in 1956. Isn't Wales wet? I was with the Boy Covenanter group from the age of 13 to 31, becoming a leader along the way, and for the last 3 years being main group leader. I was very happy to serve in this way and proud to take over from Reg Richardson. Back to the building again. Every 5 years the corrugated iron needed repainting. The brave men at BREC did a DIY job working from very tall ladders and on the roof, armed with wire brushes to clean off the rust and pots of red oxide paint. In 1965, an architect was engaged to produce a specification for a total update, including a new internal layout. In the spring of 1966, work was started to strip all corrugated iron off walls and roof, and all the internal wall cladding and partitions were removed. The timber stonework was found to be sound and was treated for damp and pest ingress. The roof was timber clad and felted, the walls felted, wire meshed and rendered. The inside of the walls were plasterboarded, a lowered ceiling was installed, side rooms and a good sized kitchen installed. The total cost was £9,000. Doesn't sound very much today, but that was the cost of a pair of semi-detached houses then. A new Hammond organ was bought, substantially funded by an anonymous church member. The original heating was by 4 coke-burning tortoise stoves, each standing on 2-inch thick concrete slabs on top of the wooden floor. Where the builders removed the stoves, the floor underneath was found to have been reduced to charcoal and almost on the point of collapse. If a lighted stove had then fallen through into the large underfloor space, which is very well ventilated, the whole building would have caught fire. Once again, we were protected by our loving Heavenly Father. Back in time, BREC was originally run on very strict, some might say narrow, brethren rules, very serious and not much cheeriness. I remember how zealous and serious was a dear guy called Henry Pavitt. Just inside the entrance porch at the front was a side room with a box bench with a lift-up lid. It was known by us young people as Henry's hat box. In it, he kept a selection of ladies' used hats. If a lady came into the church without a hat, she would be presented by him with one to wear. I have no idea how he judged which style to offer. BREC gradually became more open, friendly and joyful, with a more loving, caring feeling for each other, and more concerned reference to the world around us. The most dynamic development has been the amalgamation of BREC with part of Danbury Mission into City Church Chelmsford. This can only result in blessing. We hope and pray for the future that God will use us together to declare the good news of Jesus and salvation to Chelmsford and for his glory.
Amen.